row.
Row 7, Tito Rabat, Hector Barbara and Carol Abraham. Row 8, Michael van der Mark making his MotoGP debut, replacing Jonas Folger.
Yeah, Petrucci's going to have to start from the back of the grid, isn't he? He missed the pit lane exit window after that mechanical problem, so one of the strongest riders in the rain conditions will join the warm-up lap here in Malaysia, but he's going to have to form up at the back of the grid.
The pack leave for the last time before it's for real. Danilo Petrucci has to wait. What a miserable, miserable morning for the Italian who has finished on the podium 4 times this season. Dylan, what is it doing down there?
Well, it's only spitting at the moment, and I'll tell you what, most teams believe the weather forecast is going to get better, so they believe the track is going to dry. That is why we've had numerous riders drop down to the soft option rear, like Johan Zarco, Danny Pedrosa, the KTMs, Alvaro Bautista, we have Loris Baz as well, Scott Redding. These guys, they are hoping that it's going to dry out, because they know that soft is not likely to last to the end. If it dries out, they want this flag to flag. The other guys will have a bit more endurance, but not quite as quick at the start.
We don't know if it's going to dry out or not, and nobody really can judge. The weather can be so localised here. There you go, Danny Pedrosa. He cuts Alex Barras as the 4th rider with most Grand Prix starts. 276 starts for Danny Pedrosa, 125 and double 250cc world champion. And he's been mighty close to making it a hat-trick, hasn't he? And winning the MotoGP World Championship.
Just a quick run through then very quickly before we get this crucial Malaysian Grand Prix underway. The riders that have switched to that soft Michelin rear rain tyre: Johan Zarco on the front row, Alvaro Bautista, your poleman Danny Pedrosa, Bradley Smith, Paul Espargaro, Scott Redding, Michael van der Mark and Loris Baz. There are the riders on the soft rear rain tyre.
A tense looking Marc Marquez on the grid, a crash in his first flying lap in qualifying, pushed him onto the 2nd row, then right at the finish, Jorge Lorenzo, his great rival, pushed him back to a 3rd row start. He has a 33-point advantage with 2 rounds remaining. Down towards turn 15, we ride with Marquez, confirmation. Maverick Vinales is out of the hunt, as is Valentino Rossi. It's a 2-horse race.
The onus is on Andrea Dovizioso to take this to Valencia. Andrea Dovizioso must score 9 points or more than Marc Marquez to make sure we have a final round showdown at the Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia in 2 weeks' time.
You could cut the atmosphere here with a knife. 95,000 fans packed into the Sepang International Circuit. Will they witness a race that tells us who will be the 2017 MotoGP World Champion? The next 20 laps will tell us. We're in Sepang and we are ready to go.
Lights out in Malaysia. Good start from the 2nd row by Valentino Rossi. A great start from pole by Danny Pedrosa. Marc Marquez got away pretty well too. Andrea Dovizioso's had a shocking start. And here comes Marquez up on the inside of Lorenzo. Marc Marquez has got the whole shot. He's come through from 7th to lead, but he's well wide. Now Johan Zarco leads.
What a start by Marc Marquez from the 3rd row of the grid. I think he's got back into 2nd place, hasn't he? Past Danny Pedrosa. Any thoughts we had about that have gone. He's running 2nd.
Contact between Rossi and Paul Espargaro as they drop down into turn number 3. Johan Zarco's gone off at the front like a scalded cat down into turn number 4 for the first time. Lorenzo runs a tight inside line. He's got up the inside of Marc Marquez. Lorenzo up into 2nd place.
Dovizioso currently running down in 5th place. Zarco at the front, Lorenzo, Marquez, Pedrosa, and here is Andrea Dovizioso right behind Danny Pedrosa as they go down. They splash through the waters through 5 and 6.
Valentino Rossi looked like he got a good launch off the line, then he obviously got mired in trouble at the first corner. Johan Zarco through the first sector. He's already 1.3 seconds clear. Dovizioso's found his way up the inside of Danny Pedrosa. He got an awful start on that run down to the first corner of Dovizioso, but he's been aggressive in this first lap, picked up a few places. Zarco's lead though, nearly 1.5 seconds.
And they come towards turn 9, this uphill hairpin. Confirmation, Dovizioso's got past Pedrosa, has got Marc Marquez in front of him. Marquez will be very happy with that situation. but Zarco has got away at the front.
Dovizioso was wide coming out of turn number 9, left the door open for Pedrosa to sweep through at turn number 10, so the place picked up by Andrea Dovizioso. He's already surrendered, but he fights straight back up the inside of Pedrosa. Brave at turn number 12, is he in wide again? He is.
Sweeping through the spray.
Pedrosa right around the outside of him.
Here he comes though, back up the inside, Andrea Dovizioso. Pedrosa on the outside. It's going to be the left-hander coming up now. Pedrosa will he hold the advantage? They now come down that back straight, down towards turn 15. Zarco leads, Lorenzo second, Marquez third, Dovizioso, Pedrosa.
Rossi's had a nightmare first lap. Valentino Rossi started fourth, got a decent launch off the line. He's currently in 13th place, surrendered 9 places. Danilo Petrucci, who started at the back of the grids on the charge, he's already clawed his way back up into 14th place. Zarco leads in Malaysia. His advantage at the end of the first lap, 1.5 seconds.
Up into turn 1. What a start by Zarco. He's won here for the last 2 years in the Moto2 category.
Marquez went gung-ho, didn't he? Got a fantastic start from that third row, got the whole shot, but went into turn 1 too hot, taking risks from the get-go, the reigning world champion.
Well, we rode them with Marquez in his face. Is Andrea Dovizioso. He'll be very happy if this situation remains the same. It's a bit of a different story now with Marquez making such a good start. Zarco chasing that first ever MotoGP win. We say has won here 2 times the last 2 years in MotoGP. Lorenzo, we know, very, very good at the start, good in the wet. It was a mistake at Misano, and he probably would have won that race. But Marquez went on to win. There is Marquez, nicely ensconced in third place. His only danger man behind him.
One of the big movers has been Bradley Smith early on the KTM. He's had a fantastic first lap and a half. Smith started 16th. There he is. He's already up into 7th place. The factory Yamahas, as we've expected or we've seen before this year, struggling in the rain conditions. Nightmare. Rossi 11th from 4th, and Maverick Vinales, who started 1 place behind him in 5th, he's dropped back down to 13th.
There is Bradley Smith in front of Alex Rins, Andrea Iannone. Scott Redding not made a bad start either. Scott Redding actually has moved up a place now in front of Iannone.
Yeah, Rossi making no impression. He's still in 11th place. He's just been actually taken by Loris Baz as well, so Rossi really suffering, as is Vinales. When you get mired down the pack as well, its visibility becomes a problem with all the spray. Johan Zarco continues to streak away at the front of this Malaysian Grand Prix. His advantage over Lorenzo now as we come to turn 14 on the second lap. 1.8 seconds the gap.
On the back straight, 6 gear, around 320, 330 kilometres an hour, then down through those seamless gearboxes into turn 15. There is Dovizioso closing up on Marquez. What do you do in this situation? Do you try and make Marquez make a mistake? Do you get right behind him and try and push him along a little?
Oh, you've got to try and attack him and get underneath him and try and break away from him. At the moment, Marquez is in the pound seat. Marquez knows that while he's getting number 4 in his pitbull behind him, he's going to be the world champion. And Marquez last time around was the quickest man on track, 2/10 faster than your race leader, Johan Zarco.
There you go, 36 points would be the gap, and with 25 points up for grabs in Valencia, it doesn't take a lot of working out that Marquez would retain the world title. Never say never though in MotoGP. There's still a long, long way to go. You're absolutely right about Bradley Smith, Matt. Where has this come from? He's now running in 6th place on the KTM in the wet.
Well, he's been super aggressive. There's a big freight train building up behind him as Rossi gets up the inside of Andrea Iannone on the brakes in the turn number 4. So that's Rossi back into 10th place now.
It's too much though, I would think, for Rossi, even Rossi, to catch those men at the front in these conditions and be involved in such a pack. It was a really, really difficult start for the man that's won here 6 times. Here comes Scott Redding up the inside of Rins, right behind Bradley Smith. So Scott Redding has now moved up into 7th place, Bradley Smith running in 6th. We watch the leaders come up towards turn 9. Yeah,
you know, he's struggling a little bit out there. He's been passed on this lap by Marquez and by Rossi rather, and Polispargaro.
Rins back up the inside of Scott Redding at turn 9, where he does hold the advantage. They flick it right up through 10.
Danny Pedrosa's dropped right back off the back of this battle of the third between Marquez and Dovizioso. He was 6/10 slower last time around, Pedrosa, so the rain conditions, you'd imagine already Danny Pedrosa struggling, even though he's got that soft Michelin rear rain tyre on, just finding the lack of grip a bit of a major issue.
Well, I tell you what, guys, all the riders that were hoping for it to dry out, they are not having the best luck. It is raining still, very likely, but this track is certainly going to stay wet for a while.
Oh, how is that going to change things? Zarco leads, Lorenzo second. Marquez coming under real pressure now from Andrea Dovizioso, who rode here quite brilliantly in the rain a year ago. Also rode quite brilliantly in the rain 2 weeks ago at MOTOGP in Japan.
So Lorenzo set the fastest lap of the race at 2:14.947. He took 3/10 back last time around on Johan Zarco. Zarco, the only man in that top four that we know has got that soft rear rain tyre on. So that could be absolutely crucial. Setting this electric pace at the front, is he just over abusing it? Is he just going to run into a few grip issues late on? If the track certainly starts drying out, he may have a few issues as the race drags into the final stages.
As we said before, Lorenzo only has finished off the podium here once in the MotoGP class, but he's never actually won the race. He has won a couple of 250cc races here, as has Zarco in Moto2. He's won here for the last 2 years. It's a brilliant start by the Frenchman. It just emphasises what a superb MotoGP rookie season he has had. But this is Lorenzo at his best, isn't it?
Yeah, Lorenzo's taking a little bit more time out of Zarco through the first sector on this lap number 4. It's down to about 1.3 seconds. Dovizioso hounding and pressurising Marc Marquez, but just can't find his way through.
Just looking at the track conditions, the difficulty here is, and all the riders will tell you, is that because of the colour of the surface here, it's difficult to tell where is wet and where is drying. But as Dylan said, with the rain still coming down, it's not drying in any way at all. And Dovizioso, as try as he might, is not really making an impression on Marquez, is he?
Yeah, and the problem is, Nick, that even though if he finds his way through on Marc Marquez, it's not enough. And the problem for Dovizioso is he's got nobody behind him trying to bring the fight to Marquez as well. He needs bikes between himself and Marc Marquez. If Dovizioso takes this third place from Marc Marquez, it will still be immaterial. It won't be enough for him as Dovizioso finds a way up the inside at turn 14. Brilliantly done then by the Ducati man. He's up into third place.
Dovizioso up into third. Marquez would still be the world champion. Now, can Jorge Lorenzo come into play here, Dovizioso's teammate?
Well, Dovizioso's got to win. He's got to get in front of Johan Zarco. And he's wide. He's well wide. And Marquez will say thank you very much. He'll
they touched.
They were so close to touching. He got him wide there and cut it back, did Andrea Dovizioso. Marquez had that inside line. Lorenzo again is the fastest man on the circuit with a 2:14.7.
How frustrating is that for Andrea Dovizioso? He's done all the hard work. He's done the first part of the jigsaw. It's a long way to go. And then suddenly finds himself back where he was previously. He's working really hard now to get past Marquez. That move is going to come very soon indeed. They're coming to turn 3 at the bottom of the hill. Will he have a nibble at the top of the hill at turn 4? Is he close enough?
So even if Dovizioso takes second from Lorenzo and Marquez stays fourth, that's only 7 points back. That's not enough. He's got to find a way to get to the front. He's got to find a way to hunt down Zarco. He's picked off Marc Marquez at turn number 4, so he's charged towards the front. Commences again then for Dovizioso.
Well, Marquez knows as long as he can stay on his back wheel, the championship is still coming his way. This is turn 15. Just gets in there too hot. How many times have we seen that at Sepang? And he pulls back across.
That's close. Very close. Dovizioso, they call him the professor, and he'll know very easily what the maths are.
Far better than us.
Excellent. He's got to somehow find a way to get into the lead of this race. If he was to win, hunt down Lorenzo and Zarco, and Marc Marquez was fourth, then we would be going to a final round showdown. Sam Lowe's Malaysian Grand Prix over. The British riders crashed out. He was circulating down in 19th place. He has actually rejoined the race.
Full marks to Scott Redding. He's now in the 6th place. Rins 7th, Baz 8th, and Baz is good. And Bradley Smith down to 9th place. Lawrence Baz finished 5th here last year in these wet conditions.
Whatever Maverick Vinales found in that wet warm-up in Phillip Island last weekend, he was 4th actually in FP2 on Friday. We thought the wet weather gremlins for Yamaha had been completely evaporated, but no, Maverick Vinales at the moment outside the points. He's way down in 16th place. Last time around he was 2.5 seconds slower than Johan Zarco, also on a Yamaha.
We ride with Marc Marquez down into turn 15.
Dovizioso's got time. That's the one thing on his side in this race. He has got the time. just got to keep his calm and his composure, which we know he's brilliant at doing that. Zarco, though, has just fired in the fastest lap of the race, beaten straight away though by Dovizioso. Dovizioso's got his rhythm here. 2:14.163 from Dovizioso, the fastest lap of the race. He was able to eke out 7/10 on Marc Marquez last time around. The gap between Zarco and Dovizioso, 2.5 seconds on lap 6.
Well, his next object obviously is to get past her teammate Jorge Lorenzo, which will not be easy. Marquez quite happy at the moment of just hanging on his rear wheel.
You do wonder what Ducati may be communicating. There is on-board communication. Oh, Alex Rins has crashed. Alex Rins is out of the Grand Prix. He'd actually just gone up into 6th place. So Alex Rins, who had a truly brilliant ride to 5th in the rain conditions in Japan 2 weeks ago, he's had a tumble at turn 1.
Here we go, coming into turn 1 on the Suzuki. From a double podium finisher here in Moto 3, Alex Rins.
Remember last weekend in Australia, Scott Redding told us that he was told not to engage in a fight with Andrea Dovizioso further down the field. Will Ducati be telling Jorge Lorenzo on his dashboard the same thing? Will they try and make sure that Lorenzo does not engage in a dogfight with Andrea Dovizioso?
Guys, just a very quick word on Sam Lowes. He came back into pit lane, but his team essentially did a flag to flag for him. He had it. His second bike was prepared for wet, so Lowes back on track now.
Many thanks, Dylan.
Oh, there's a faller there. Somebody's down. That looks like one of the Reale Avinci Ducatis. It may have been definitely one of the Avinci Ducatis. I'm not sure if it was Loris Baz or Hector Barbara.
Valentino Rossi moving. Baz.
It was Baz.
Oh, what a shame. He's done so well in the wet. Valentino Rossi eases his way past Bradley Smith and is now up into 10th place. There he is.
It's a shame because Loris Baz. So we've seen in quick succession 2 riders tumble out of the top 10. Alex Rins and now Loris Baz.
Still a long, long way to go. Is there going to be a final twist in the tail at this penultimate round of the MotoGP World Championship? As we stand at the moment, the man at the back here, number 93, would be crowned the 2017 MotoGP World Championship. We've learned this season, we've learned in most seasons, just to wait and see what happens, because it can change so quickly, especially in these conditions.
Yeah, last time around, fastest man on track by a big margin was this man, Jorge Lorenzo. He was 6/10 of a second faster than Johan Zarco. I wouldn't want to be Ducati telling Jorge Lorenzo to pull aside with team orders if he can win his first Grand Prix for Ducati in terms of the championship. It might all, of course, all be immaterial.
There you go. Quite a gap, quite a difference between those 2 laps, nearly 6/10 of a second, and Lorenzo is hunting down Zarco at the front. 30 points, live championship standing.
Yeah, Dovizioso needs 6 points to take the fight to Valencia, which means he's got to somehow conjure up a way of not only closing down Lorenzo and Zarco, but then finding a way through on them. That is not going to be an easy task because Zarco and Lorenzo at the front of this race so far have been absolutely faultless, picture perfect, the pair of them.
It's under a second now, the gap between Zarco at the front and Lorenzo. Both of them are double intermediate class champions, aren't they? 250cc obviously for Lorenzo. Zarco the double Moto 2 champion. Here they are at turn 9.
Yeah, this will be his 3rd win in a row here in Malaysia, wouldn't it, for Johan Zarco? Back-to-back wins in Moto 2 in 2015 and 2016. Won the championship here last year. Very emotional podium celebrations from the Frenchman.
Chasing his first ever victory in his first season in his 17th MotoGP race. Remember that first race of the season in Qatar where he led for the first 6 laps before he crashed? I think we realised then we were seeing something pretty special. Lorenzo's hunting him down. Lorenzo has got a sniff of victory in his nostrils, but his teammate Andrea Dovizioso needs his help.
So down in the turn 15.
Sí, pero muy poco, pero parece que no se va a secar.
Zarco then 1.1 seconds. He is still clear of Lorenzo as they come to finish lap number 7. Dovizioso looks like he's opened up a bit of daylight between himself and Marc Marquez. G4, that means group 4 in that lead group. They're telling Johan Zarco as Dovizioso fires in the fastest lap of the race. Andrea Dovizioso in 3rd place, the first man into the 2:13s at 2:13.969. He's a second behind his teammate Jorge Lorenzo.
This is Lorenzo through 2, now 3, the fast right-hander at the bottom of the hill. Dovizioso has opened up a little bit of a gap on Marquez. It's not the easiest situation for Marquez. Obviously, he knows exactly where he stands championship-wise, but he doesn't want too much to happen in front of him that could change that situation. He's got to pick up 6 points from somewhere, hasn't he?
Can you imagine a scenario on the last lap with Lorenzo leading and Dovizioso second, with Marquez fourth? The only way that
and the Ducati team out on the track trying to slow him up.
I mean, it could happen. It could be a serious conundrum. We laugh about it now, but it could be a massive conundrum. The only way that Ducati potentially, at the end of this race, can be still in the fight for the World Championship, one they've not won since Casey Stoner 10 years ago, that scenario may yet occur, because Dovizioso is streaking away here from Marquez. Marquez is struggling to go away with his top three now.
There's Zarco, Lorenzo, as you can see, and then of course Dovizioso and Marquez at the back of that group, just dropping off that group a little bit. This is the start. What a start. Look at 93. There he comes from the third row of the grid. Keep an eye out for Marquez. Like a knife, a hot knife through butter. You can't believe it. He's actually going to lead, but of course he does get in there a bit hot. Lorenzo's get back up the inside, as does Zarco. But Marquez comes through in, well, third place. It wasn't Lorenzo even, it's Pedrosa. And at the next bend he went past Pedrosa.
Yeah, this was Johann Zarco who got a brilliant start. Lorenzo got away well. Dovizioso fluffed his start. And look at Marquez. Dive bombing up the inside. He got the whole shot, but he ran wide. He picked up Lorenzo as well. This allowed Zarco to sweep up the inside of both the Spaniards. There he goes. And since this point in the race, nobody has been able to show Johann Zarco a front wheel. Dovizioso is really piling on the pressure here. Andrea Dovizioso, as we watch this replay of the race start, has just fired in yet another fastest lap of the race, a 2:13.584. 4/10 of a second quicker he was than Jorge Lorenzo last time around. The gap now between Dovizioso and Lorenzo, just 6/10 of a second, and more crucially, the gap between Dovizioso and Urasi, that Johann Zarco, is down to a second, and Marquez is really struggling. Dovizioso knows if he can get ahead of these two in front of him, the championship rolls on to Valencia.
This championship just never disappoints you, does it? And this is another superb race. What a situation we find ourselves in. Zarco chasing his first ever MotoGP win. Lorenzo chasing his first win on the Ducati. Dovizioso chasing his sixth win. He really has to win this race to stop Marquez in fourth place.
Yeah,
clinching the
title.
title.
Look at this, Lorenzo now right on the rear tyre of Johann Zarco. Is Johann Zarco already suffering with that Michelin soft option rear rain tyre, because Lorenzo has been able to hunt him down, and Lorenzo's going for it on the brakes at turn number 9. Is he through? Yes, he is. Lorenzo then leads for the first time.
Jorge Lorenzo leads the Malaysian Grand Prix here in Sepang. Zarco tries to fight back, but he puts a bit of tarmac between himself and the Frenchman. Now, all eyes are on Dovizioso in third place. What can he do about it? He's closing up on Zarco also.
Yeah, I think Zarco's running out of grip. Karel Abraham's crashed out, so we're going to be in the fascinating and intriguing situation here, where Jorge Lorenzo will be leading the Malaysian Grand Prix. Zarco is really struggling. Dovizioso through at turn number 14. Andrea Dovizioso up in the second place. 1 place away from the crucial win he desperately needs.
Down they come towards turn 15. Lorenzo leads. His teammate, championship contender Andrea Dovizioso in second place. Zarco third. All Marquez can do at the moment is look at his pit board and see what is happening in front of him.
Sam Lowe's has crashed out again by the looks of it, and he's rejoined again. Lorenzo fires in the fastest lap of the race, 2:13.375. Marquez doing everything he can to go with this top three. He's put in his personal best lap of the race, a 2:14.156.
26 points and a bit of a moment there for Andrea Dovizioso. 26 points it would be. That would be enough for Marquez to take the title by a single point.
And I've got to mention now we're into this situation in this Malaysian Grand Prix, the dreaded two words, team orders.
I'll be honest with you, Dylan, come on, down in pit lane, help us. Will there be team orders?
I almost think it's pretty obvious. Of course,
yeah,
if you're,
they've got to be.
You know, you've got to give these team orders. You are ultimately still winning as a team. You know, they don't want Marquez to take the title just to give Jorge a win.
Yeah, they'll have to, if this carries on, try and get Jorge Lorenzo to yield if he's still leading. We don't want to see it. We want to see a straight shootout. Dovizioso will not want to have Jorge Lorenzo pull alongside and let him sweep through. It's intriguing how Ducati are going to call this one, because they are surely not going to let Marc Marquez wrap up the World Championship. 2 crashes for Sam Lowes, 2 crashes now for Alex Rins.
Certainly a good few riders have been caught out in the conditions, not these at the front. There is Zarco in 3rd place. Marquez now has just got to stay in a safe 4th place and start, well, I won't say start thinking about the race in Valencia, because as we stand at the moment, he is the world champion by a single point. Dovizioso is very, very simple. Has got to get past his teammate Jorge Lorenzo to go into the final round of this 18-round World Championship, with still having a chance of taking the title.
And Ducati have spent millions. They've taken so much flack down the years after the glory days, the halcyon days of Casey Stoner in 2007. Here they are still fighting for a chance to lift the 2017 MotoGP World Championship, but Andrea Dovizioso has got to find a way through on his teammate Jorge Lorenzo, otherwise it's game over here in Sepang.
There is 10 electrifying laps left here in Sepang. There are the 2 Ducatis into turn 1. It's got a glimpse also there of Zarco.
Sam Lowes is back in after 2 crashes. This is a scenario that Ducati would have planned for. They would have talked about it, they would have had meetings, they would have envisaged this scenario occurring. They would not want it. There is Sam Lowes then down at turn 1. Not quite able to perform the heroics that Marc Marquez did in the dry in FP4 yesterday.
In very similar position, Marc Marquez somehow kept the Honda upright. Well, the helicopter shot tells us all really now. It's all about Ducati.
Yeah.
Is it all about team orders? Zarco's going to be just fighting now to take another podium, well, his 2nd podium finish in MotoGP. Marquez will have to settle for that 4th place.
The 2 Ducatis.
What's happening at the front will decide if we go to Valencia with the title still in the balance.
But guys, do bear in mind, Marquez has that medium wet tyre on there. Zarco's got the soft, as we were told by Michelin, maybe 4 or 5 laps before the end, that soft tyre could drop off quite significantly.
If Marquez passes Zarco, though, and Dovizioso wins, and the championship does still go on, so it's crucial. Andrea Dovizioso has to win.
He has to win.
He has to win.
But in this situation, where Marquez or anything else, he has to win the race, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's it. Ducati potentially have got probably the biggest management call they've ever had to make coming up very, very shortly here in Malaysia.
The phone's just ringing in the back of the pit box. So can you take a reverse call from a Bologna, please?
Zarco is suffering. He has burnt up that soft option rear tyre, as he can't go with the pace of the Ducati men in front of him, dropping back as well into the clutches of Marc Marquez. 26 points to gap, that's the live championship. Marc Marquez, as it stands right now, is going to be lifting the 2017 MotoGP World Championship.
This is Zarco trying to nurse that Tech 3 Yamaha home to a podium finish.
Lorenzo has just fired in the fastest lap of the race at 2:13.226.
He surely will slow at some point, won't he? I would think he's got to. But Jorge Lorenzo.
Well, I mean, Ducati at the end of the day are damned if they do, they're damned if they don't.
No, that's right.
Nobody will like it if we do see team orders to keep the championship rolling. But if they didn't, they're going to be so heavily criticised for saying, well, why did you not have team orders to keep Dovizioso in the championship? They're between a rock and a hard place, aren't they? Look at Zarco, rather. He was getting massive wheel spin as he got on the gas coming out of turn number 4. Zarco's obliterated that soft rear tyre, and he's still got 8.5 laps to nurse it home.
Right, let's have a look quickly. Lorenzo Dovizioso, Zarco Marquez, then Pedrosa Petrucci, Redding, Polis Sparta.
Look at that, the replay. We talked about Zarco having rear tyre problems. Well, this was massive. Out of the seat at turn 3. Here we go. Oh, yeah, there you go. And he had another warning as well at turn number 4. Alex Rins has been black flagged. So I guess he's got some kind of mechanical issue, or he's been black flagged though, Rins. He has had 2 crashes, trying to continue, but he's going to be disqualified from this race. He's got to come into the pits, Alex Rins. Dylan.
Alex Rins got disqualified because he came back in via the short track.
Thanks, Dylan.
Many thanks, Dylan. Marquez is there, ready to pick off Johan Zarco to take third place. Actually, at the front, it doesn't make that much difference because Dovizioso has to win this race to stay in the title hunt.
What's the gap then between Zarco and Marquez? 1.4 seconds, and Marquez himself has a moment as he got on the power coming out of turn 14. You can see Marquez as well. Look at the wheel spin he's getting. He was bolt upright there, and he was getting wheel spin on the gas coming out of turn 14. 2 moments there to Marquez himself. Even though he's got that medium rear tyre in, you can see he's encountering some pretty severe tyre wear.
And that would be the disaster of all disasters, wouldn't it? If he crashed out, then the championship would be very, very different indeed.
Dovizioso now, Lorenzo and Dovizioso are trading fastest laps of the race. It's now honours to Dovizioso with a 2:13.222. 8 to go here in Sepang. This was the moment for Marquez through turn 14. His left foot will be off the peg. Oh, I'll tell you what, that was potentially a disastrous situation for Marc Marquez. Can you imagine if Marquez goes down? Oh.
Then Dovizioso won the race, we'd be talking 8 points. Yeah. Here they are, but turn 4.
Got to say, this has been brilliant by Andrea Dovizioso to try and keep the championship alive. He's riding under so much pressure. He knows one mistake could be so costly. Talk about treading a tightrope, Andrea Dovizioso. He's just doing a magnificent job under the most intense pressure ever.
Great ride by Danilo Petrucci. From the back of the grid, he now finds himself up in 6th place. Good ride also by Scott Redding, his teammate just behind him.
The factory Yamahas are having another dismal day in the grey and gloomy conditions here in Malaysia. They're 2 seconds off the pace. Shocking. Rossi's not 8th. He's just put in a personal best lap of the race, Rossi. It was a 2:15.2, exactly 2 seconds slower than these two men, Lorenzo and Dovizioso. There's been no miracle cure for the factory Yamahas in the rain conditions because Maverick Vinales is 13th. He's also 2 seconds off the pace.
We ride with Jorge Lorenzo, chasing that first win for Ducati. Danilo Petrucci, mechanical problems, had to go out on his second bike from the back of the grid. I think they'd be glad that happened because he'd have been right up there with the leaders in these conditions if he'd have had his number 1 bike and had started higher up.
Well, I think since we returned from the summer break in Brno, Jorge Lorenzo's had to field incessant questions about team orders and that thorny issue of team orders as Rossi tries to find a way up through on the inside of Scott Redding, no way through. And every time Jorge Lorenzo's been asked, he's had the exact same answer. I will help Andrea Dovizioso in Valencia if he indeed does need my help. Well, we're about to find out if that strategy's going to change.
2 weeks early, aren't we?
Rossi did find his way through, then on Scott Redding. Again, Lorenzo and Dovizioso exchange fastest laps of the race. Dovizioso again, the marginally faster with a 2:13.084, but he can't get within half a second of Jorge Lorenzo. Lorenzo standing firm right now. And Johan Zarco, despite all of his rear grip issues, just somehow managed to fire in a 2:14.021. His best lap of the race. That's keeping Marc Marquez at bay. No way through as yet for Marquez. He's 1.7 seconds back of the Frenchman.
Yeah, he's had one big scare, hasn't he, Marquez? 4th place, yeah, not what he would have wanted, but it will do. Doesn't want to lose out 25 points. Gigi Dillini, the man behind the Ducati success, looks on. What have they planned in this scenario? Because don't kid yourselves, they have talked this out, haven't they? This is not something they hadn't thought about previously, I'm sure of that. What will the message be on Jorge Lorenzo's dashboard?
Well, what we want to avoid any of that scenario is just for Andrea Dovizioso to pick up his pace and pass him, and then we've got a fair straight shootout.
This is Dovizioso.
Medium for Dovizioso. No obvious signs of any significant wear on that front tyre.
Well, that's the gap, as you can see from the helicopter shot. There is Zarco, there is Marquez. I think that particular battle, I won't say is over, but Zarco certainly has repelled Marquez. Marquez had a big moment coming into turn 14. I think it was a big reminder to him.
He just can't get the gap down to under half a second of it, so Jorge Lorenzo, we know in his previous years at Yamaha, when he's got clear track in front of him, he's one of the best riders at managing the race from this situation.
7 laps to go when they come through. Sorry, it'll be 6 laps to go when they come through turn 15.
He's taken 3/10 of a second outside of Dovizioso Lorenzo in that third sector on this lap number 14. Lorenzo is actually increasing the gap. He's not coming down. Dovizioso over the line. Again, Lorenzo, his fastest lap of the race, a 2:13.148. It was 4/10 of a second faster than Andrea Dovizioso, and out of nowhere, the gap has gone up to 1 second.
What is going through Jorge Lorenzo's mind? What has he got planned for these 6 laps? Zarco and Marquez, the only other 2 riders across the line. And Danny Pedrosa crosses in a 5th place. Danilo Petrucci 6th. Valentino Rossi 7th. Could be Scott Redding. No, Scott Redding now is being pushed back to 9th by Jack Miller.
Well, there was a team communication from Ducati just telling Jorge Lorenzo to change maps. That'll probably be going to a softer power map just to try and make sure he's still got a bit of tyre life. Will we see team communication, or will there be? We probably won't see it.
I don't
will
think,
there be on Jorge Lorenzo's dashboard a communication from this man, or maybe even higher, back in Bologna from Claudio Domenicali, to tell Jorge Lorenzo to roll out of it and let Andrea Dovizioso win this Malaysian Grand Prix? Because if he stays as is, Marc Marquez is the 2017 MotoGP World Champion.
5.5 laps to go here in Malaysia. They're at turn 9. This is Dovizioso. He has tried all he can to close the gap on Jorge Lorenzo, but as you can see, he has made little impression on Lorenzo at the front.
Zarco's got Marquez covered in 3rd place. Zarco is riding a brilliant race. His tyres have come back to him, 2:13.753. That's his fastest lap of the race. He was half a second quicker than Marquez last time around. Marquez now over 2 seconds adrift of Johan Zarco.
Little bit of light there for Dovizioso. He has pulled back about 2/10 of a second on Lorenzo as they race down now towards turn 15. When they cross the line, there will be 5 laps to go.
Yeah, and off in the distance you can see Marc Marquez. He'll be looking down that back straight and still seeing Dovizioso in 2nd place, and knowing that he will be the world champion unless Andrea Dovizioso can somehow find his way through on his teammate Jorge Lorenzo. The gap down to 7/10 of a second. Dovizioso, the marginally quicker man last time around. 5 to go here in Malaysia. 5 absolutely monumental laps for Ducati and for Andrea Dovizioso, and for Jorge Lorenzo too. Will he be willing to give up that first victory to keep Dovizioso in title contention?
Through turn 3, the 2 Ducatis up the hill to 4. We ride with Dovizioso. That is Lorenzo in front of him. They break up the hill, the right-hander, turn 4. 4 3/4 laps to go. Is the championship going to be decided this afternoon here in Malaysia, or will we have to wait another 2 weeks when we arrive at Valencia in Spain? He is now beginning to cut down that advantage. He's got it down to nearly half a second.
Just the situation that Ducati probably feared being in. They'll be praying that Andrea Dovizioso can just find his way through on Jorge Lorenzo and streak away to win this race. They will not want the contentious and controversial issue of team orders to come in to this World Championship, but they're trying to win the World Championship, so what do they do? Surely they must, if Lorenzo is leading on that last lap, tell him to yield. Otherwise they're throwing the title away.
4.5 laps to go. We're up through turns 11 and 12. Lorenzo gap now just under 4/10 of a second. We come into 13 and 14 onto the back straight. Dovizioso closing. Is Lorenzo perhaps just slowing? We really do not know. We do not know what Lorenzo has been told before the start of the race to do. Lorenzo down that back straight into 15. What will the gap be? He actually pulled a little bit back, 1/10 of a second in that 3rd sector. What will the gap be when they go over the line?
Oh, Lorenzo's wide. Lorenzo is out wide. Jorge Lorenzo then was wide at turn number 15. Andrea Dovizioso will come on the line. Will he lead the Malaysian Grand Prix? A potential, crucial, pivotal moment in the 2017 MotoGP World Championship. Dovizioso leads, and right now we're heading to a final round showdown between Dovizioso and Marquez in Valencia.
Turn 15 has done it once again. Let's just watch. That's not deliberate, is it? Hoy.
He was nearly down.
Nearly off. That was definitely not anything to do.
Anybody questioning whether the Hoy Lorenzo just let him through? Well, absolutely no way. Lorenzo was nearly on the floor. He lost the front in the middle of turn number 15. Drama late on here. We've had so much drama already in the 2017 MotoGP World Championship. Dovizioso then now. What's Lorenzo going to do? Will he engage? Will he fight back?
I cannot believe he would fight back and cause Andrea Dovizioso problems. 21 points would separate Dovizioso and Marquez in the championship going into round 18, but we still have 3.5 laps remaining of this amazing Malaysian Grand Prix. Well, we don't have to question team orders because Lorenzo so nearly went, didn't he?
You've got to think though now that surely, we probably won't see it, but surely Ducati have got to have sent a communication to him saying now do not engage in combat, in close combat with Andrea Dovizioso. As it stands then, it's still Marc Marquez will be in the box seat going to Valencia in 2 weeks' time. What will need to happen in Valencia if it stays as is? Andrea Dovizioso will need to win the race in Valencia. Marc Marquez will have to DNF. Highly unlikely scenario, but as Nick Harris always famously says in MotoGP, I'll leave you to it, Nick.
Never say never. Well, you've just got to give enormous credit to Andrea Dovizioso. He must be kicking himself, not at this actual moment, about Phillip Island. If we'd had a decent result at Phillip Island, it would have been a very different story. Into 15 they came. This is where Lorenzo so nearly went down on the previous lap. We have a look at Marc Marquez. Well, he probably knows what the situation is now.
I think he had a good long look at the big screen there, just check on the situation. They know that this is going to be the biggest win of Andrea Dovizioso's career. He's had some big wins this year, 5 Grand Prix victories so far. Straight away, once he hit the front of Dovizioso, he was able to eke out 9/10 of a second on his teammate Hoy Lorenzo. You just wonder as well, Nick, whether that mapping change that came into Hoy Lorenzo, just how much that did soften the power on that Ducati.
He crashed, didn't he, making a mapping change when he was leading the race in Misano in the pouring rain.
But you know, a mapping change to try and keep life in that rear tyre would have definitely tamed and softened his power.
But it was, but he so nearly went, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was a mistake, no doubt about it.
Well, there's only one man that would stop Andrea Dovizioso winning this race at the moment, and that is Andrea Dovizioso.
You can see the red line under Andrea Dovizioso's knee slider is the mark left by Hoy Lorenzo's knee slider. That was Lorenzo, that big red line. What a super slow-mo shot that is. That big red line was Hoy Lorenzo's knee slider, desperately trying to pick up his Ducati after a massive front-end moment. Cracking super slow-mo, love that.
Andrea Dovizioso could win his 6th Grand Prix race of the season. He could, and I emphasise could, keep this World Championship open till the final round when we return to Europe and Valencia in 2 weeks' time. What a ride by Johann Zarco on that Tech 3 Yamaha. Softer option, choice of tyres, some big moments mid-race, but he's done a brilliant job.
He has. Marc Marquez has rolled out of this. Marc Marquez is doing 2:16s right now. He knows that he just can't afford to make a mistake. He's safe in 4th, nowhere near Zarco, a million miles clear of his teammate Danny Pedrosa, the pole man. The record for the pole wins here won't go on. The man who took pole here for the last 3 years in Sepang has gone on to win the race. Dylan.
Guys, this might not matter at this stage, but it is starting to rain now, and it's not a light rain. It's just something that might affect the riders out there.
Well, yeah, it's the absolute last thing that Andrea Dovizioso will want, really heavy rain, because you can see how heavy the rain is. And it's Danilo Petrucci leading the way from Valentino Rossi. This is a race for 6th place.
We're getting blitzed by air conditioning in this commentary box. My palms are still dripping wet through with tension and nerves. What it's like to be closely involved with the Dovizioso Marquez camps at Honda and Ducati. Who knows? What drama and tension again here in Malaysia.
This is Jack Miller running in 8th place into turn 15. Keep a look at the top of the screen, the left of the screen. There is Dovizioso. Oh, his heart must be in his mouth. The concentration levels now must be, I don't know how much percent. Miller up towards turn 1. Behind him we have Vinales Batista. Bradley Smith, Scott Redding, Hector Barber and Cal Crutchlow having a disappointing old ride. The final World Championship point. Good ride by Michael van der Mark, currently running in 16th place, just out of the points.
There's Maverick Vinales. Another humbling experience for the Spanish rider in rain conditions. He's in 10th place, locked in between his two fellow countrymen, Paul Espargo and Álvaro Bautista. Tough day at the office for Vinales and certainly Rossi in the rain conditions.
Andrea Dovizioso ploughs on at the front.
You've got to say, Nick, there's still an awful lot for Andrea Dovizioso to go his way in Valencia for him to win this World Championship. 21 points he will trail Marc Marquez, so he will have to win in Valencia and hope that Marc Marquez has another mechanical like he did in Silverstone, or Marc Marquez crashes out of the Valencia Grand Prix. Otherwise Marquez will be the world champion, but at least we do get to go to the final round decider.
Through turn 12 up to 13, now 14 for Andrea Dovizioso, onto the back straight.
If it does go to Valencia for the final round, it will be the 5th time in MotoGP history. Rossi versus Hayden in 2006, Lorenzo versus Marquez in 2013, Lorenzo versus Rossi in 2015.
Dovizioso safely through turn 15. 1 lap to go, 5.543 kilometres, 3.44 miles between Dovizioso and his 6th victory of the season, and this without a doubt would be the most important of them all.
Lorenzo's not going to even try and engage, is he? He's not close enough anyway, he's 1.1 seconds back. Marc Marquez knows that the carver is going to have to go back in the ice bucket for at least another 2 weeks.
T-shirts are going back in their boxes, haven't they?
Yeah.
But still a steady old ride into 4th place. He had one big scare, didn't he, up at turn 14. I'm sure that was enough for him to think, just don't chuck away any points here. Just keep steady. You know what? Still a very big gap, isn't it, when they did get into Valencia?
You're so right about Phillip Island as well, Nick. What a disaster that was. 22 points Andrea Dovizioso lost to Marc Marquez. That could be, in the final outcome in 2 weeks' time in Valencia, the key moment when we look back on the destiny of this 2017 MotoGP World Championship. It's only the 5th time Andrea Dovizioso in 75 finishes for the factory Ducati team he'd missed the top 10, but here he is 1 week later, keeping his hopes alive, keeping Ducati's hopes alive. It's not over yet.
Down through the gearbox, on the brakes into turn 9. Half a lap to go here for Andrea Dovizioso on the Ducati. So far, you've got to say, I don't want to put the curse on him. It's been a faultless ride by him, isn't it?
It is absolutely lashing down with rain up at turn number 11, though. The rain has really started to pour down again at the conclusion of what's been a real nail-biting, nerve-jangling Malaysian Grand Prix. It does look like we are going to Valencia for a straight showdown between Andrea Dovizioso and Marc Marquez to decide who is the 2017 MotoGP World Champion.
Onto the back straight for the final time. 1 bend remaining. The dreaded turn 50.
Dovizioso then on the brink of his 6th win of the season, arguably one of the most important of his Grand Prix career. The championship then will roll on to a final round showdown in Valencia.
Andrea Dovizioso wins his 6th Grand Prix victory of the season. It's crucial. It's kept the championship alive here in Malaysia.
Jorge Lorenzo takes 2nd place behind his teammate. A fantastic podium for Johan Zarco. He's in 3rd place. Marc Marquez then comes home to a lonely 4th place. Pat on the tank, job done as far as he's concerned. They know that they are still red hot favourites to lift this 2017 MotoGP crown. 21 points they get to Valencia, clear of Andrea Dovizioso. The poleman Danny Pedrosa, not his day. He finishes in 5th, just ahead of Danilo Petrucci. Great fight back from Petrucci, started last. He just got the better of Valentino Rossi on that last lap. Miller 8th, Vinales a bitterly disappointing 9th. He just finished ahead of Paul Espargaro, rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, behind him we had Álvaro Bautista, Bradley Smith in 12th, Scott Redding 13th, Hector Barber 14th, Cal Crutchlow picking up that single point in 15th place.
Did all he could. That was all Andrea Dovizioso could do. Win the race. He kept his part of the bargain, and he still has an outside chance of being crowned the 2017 world champion. Ducati's hopes of winning a first title in 10 years, they go on.
6 wins apiece. Congratulations to Andrea Dovizioso. Great ride by Jorge Lorenzo into second place. That is his best result on the Ducati this season. His third podium finish. Ah, look at that. Good shake of the hands between Dovizioso and Marquez. Marquez will be disappointed he hasn't clinched the championship, but he'll be relieved he's got through the race and is absolute clear favourite to take that title, to retain the title in 14 days' time. Oh, ball of a tither here, are you? Wow, what a nail-biting encounter. Well done, Danilo Petrucci. If he'd have made a, well, didn't have to start from the back of the grid, on the right back and a little bit higher up the grid, he'd have been in the mix as well, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he definitely would have been. That mechanical failure on his #1 Ducati on the first formation lap costing Petrucci dear. Great fight back, they went to the top 6. Lorenzo and Ducati did not have to make the big play, did they? They didn't have to make the big call. It was all decided when Jorge Lorenzo was nearly on the floor.
Now, if he'd have crashed, Marquez would have been world champion, wouldn't he?
No, he would have.
No, they've been in third.
It would have been 24 points.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Matt. Yeah,
it would have still gone to Valencia. So they've got to wait. The nerves and the tension will be continuing for another couple of weeks for Marc Marquez.
There'll be no nerves from Andrea Dovizioso. All he can do is keep the pressure on, and he's done that the whole of this weekend. Actually, full credit to him.
Nothing to lose, has he, Andrea?
No, he hasn't. No. Well, this is where he took over. Third place from Marquez here, wasn't it? Still Zarco and Lorenzo at the front. Yeah, safely through. This is the moment for Jorge Lorenzo.
Yeah, do not think that was Jorge Lorenzo letting Andrea Dovizioso through. That was a massive scare for Lorenzo. His red left knee slider left an autograph of Lorenzo's on the tarmac, didn't it, through turn number 15. Massive scare for Lorenzo. And after that, you always felt like he was never going to get engaged in close combat with Andrea Dovizioso.
No, which is absolutely fair enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you really would not expect.
There you go. Look at that.
Yeah.
That was the moment.
And look at that red mark. That red mark under the knee slider of Andrea Dovizioso is what has been left by the knee slider of Jorge Lorenzo. There's Marc Marquez. Yeah, I think he's quite relieved that the race is over. Andrea Dovizioso has now won 6 Grand Prix this season. His only other Ducati victory came here 12 months ago, and that was only his 2nd victory in MotoGP. What a season he is having.
Yeah, that's his 42nd Premier Class podium. He now ties with Loris Capirossi, another Italian legend, of course. Marc Marquez will probably feel like that was a pretty decent damage limitation job starting from 7th. Super aggressive off the start.
He looks a lot happier than he did at the start of the race, doesn't he?
Well, yeah. he knows that the equation is really simple in Valencia. Dovizioso has to win, Marquez has to DNF.
Yeah. Well done, Andrea Dovizioso. He's kept this championship alive. Different type of race that we saw obviously in Phillip Island and we saw in MOTOGP, but it's equally as fascinating for different reasons. Great ride by Jorge Lorenzo as well. I think we must not forget that. It's 2 third places before now, wasn't it, on the Ducati? That's a 2nd place for him.
Yeah, you can bet your bottom dollar that everybody is saying that mapping change signal, was it some coded team order perhaps?
Right,
I'm sure social media is going to be lighting up,
yeah.
Isn't it? The conspiracy theories will start.
Yeah, there we are. Gigi Linas certainly gives him a big hug. But it did seem like a big moment. You wouldn't do that deliberately, would you?
Oh, no,
put your knee slider down like that. He was so close to crashing. 95,000 fans. I think they've been richly entertained in all 3 classes, and also by the Asian Talent Cup race. It's been a great day's race. Yeah, of course we were going to get some rain, and we did get some rain, but it actually didn't spoil the race. Johan Zarco probably won't be making it into the headlines after a quite brilliant third place.
Top Yamaha in qualifying, top Yamaha in the race, and as well as being Rookie of the Year, he has now secured the top Independent Team Rider Prize of the Year as well. The plaudits will continue to fall at the feet of that flying Frenchman.
Yeah, one big moment for him on those softer option tyres he chose, and we felt then that Marquez would close right up and perhaps take over third place. It didn't turn out to be the case. Oh, roll on Valencia. I think we want to go over a bit of a lie down in a darkened room for a couple of days back home before we make our way to Valencia. Here he is, Johan Zarco with Dylan. He's on the podium.
Well, Johan, congratulations, third place here in Sepang. Such difficult conditions, and tell us, you had a big moment through turn 3, I think lap number 11. How difficult was it managing that softer rear tyre?
I'm happy that I chose this soft rear tyre. I think it has been the key for the podium today. I could even think about the victory. On the wet, I could not go really fast, but I was faster than my opponents. Then getting a little bit dry, I was feeling also more confident, but Lorenzo and Dovizioso overtook me, and they have much better drive than me. So I said to myself, hey, if they have it, maybe I can have it too. Now the track is maybe good, but I've lost 2 times the rear. So then you feel you have your position. Third, fourth position was coming back, and then I could push again and finish with 6-second advantage. So no, happy. We had a nice triple race and finish with the podium. It's so good. It's good also for championship, and high motivation for Valencia.
Thanks a lot, Johan. Congratulations.
Yeah, great ride, Matt, by Johan Zarco, and one of the real stars of the season.
Absolutely fantastic ride. His third successive podium finish here in Malaysia. As we said, top Yamaha by a long way as well. He wasn't just fighting with Valentino Rossi on the last lap. Confirmation there, he is the best independent team rider this year. Petrucci and Cal Crutchlow can no longer catch him. Zarco was 21 seconds faster in that race than Valentino Rossi. Break that down, he's a second quicker than Valentino Rossi, who is no mug, no slouch in the wet weather conditions. More kudos to Zarco.
Yeah. Where will he end up? He's obviously with Tech 3 next season after that. He is hot property. Andrea Dovizioso, he will be as level as anything, as he is in defeat and in victory. This is an organised track invasion here at Sepang. Well done, Jorge Lorenzo, that's a great ride. That victory will come. It didn't come today. He's with Dylan, smiling away.
Well, Jorge, congratulations, second place here in the rain in Sepang. There was so much speculation going on about team orders, all these things, but in the end you had a big moment in turn number 15. Tell us about that.
Yeah, you know, the rear tire stay quite constant during the race, but not the front. No, when I start to brake harder on the straight line, the front was closing a little bit. So that's why when Andrea overtook me, I pushed a little bit to keep his wheel, but knowing that was Dovi and not another rider, I pushed, but I didn't push at the limit. So I was okay. Second place was okay, and another podium for the year.
Thanks a lot, Jorge. Congratulations.
His knee slider left a big red mark at turn 15. Jorge Lorenzo, best result. Not been the easiest season for him after switching from Yamaha. It's his third podium finish. And here he is, battling it out with Johan Zarco. You can see Dovizioso at that stage of the race is behind them. It's going to be a big threat next season, I think, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Jorge Lorenzo, what's that, his third podium finish of the year for Ducati?
Yeah, it is, yeah. I think the other two were third places, weren't they? So that is his best finish. But all eyes now will focus on Andrea Dovizioso. It is his 6th Grand Prix victory of the season. Would you have believed that at the start of the season? And going into the final round of the championship, he is still in contention. He's with Dylan.
Well, Dovi, congratulations. You have kept the championship alive. You are taking it to the final race. Such nerves, such tension out there. But tell us, were you ever worried at any moment that maybe Jorge was going to run away and win?
Yes, because he tried to push really in the middle of the race, but I have a good pace, so I was able to manage. But
The grip was very low and we struggled a lot. He lose the front, I lose the front many times. So it was very difficult, but our bike today worked very well on the wet. So a perfect weekend for me. Really thank you to the team, because this is the way to work during the weekend.
Thanks a lot, Dovi. Congratulations.
He may not win the World Championship 2017, but boy, what a performance he has put in. And I think it's fair to say, Matt, he's surprised everybody, isn't he?
Yeah, under the most immense pressure in that race, wasn't he? He knew one mistake and this man would be the world champion. Tell you what, I knew I was dreadful at maths at school. I was getting a bit caught away in all the drama and tension there. If Dovizioso wins in Valencia, Marc Marquez must finish 11th or better, of course, because it would mean that Dovizioso will win.
Oh, that's right. He'd have that extra win, but he's going to finish in the top 10 or 11, isn't he? I think it is a DNF is the only way that will prevent him winning the title.
You might get the intriguing scenario, thanks to our colleague Steve Day. If Marc Marquez finishes 12th in Valencia, which is unlikely, and Dovizioso wins, they'd be tied on the same points. And then Dovizioso would win it on count.
Yeah, he would.
Victories.
7 against 6. Yeah.
You wouldn't put it. I'm not being funny. The way that's happened, what's happened this year, you would not put anything beyond this MotoGP World Championship. Apologies again for my dreadful maths. I'm blaming the drama and the tension again.
And you're sitting alongside me. That doesn't help as far as mathematics go, does it?
I had to sit my maths exam twice at school, and I've just proved exactly why I had to sit in that race
3 times, and I failed it all 3 times.
What we do know, thankfully, is that we've got a final round showdown between Andrea Dovizioso and Marc Marquez in Valencia in 2 weeks' time. That has just become the hottest sporting ticket in the world.
Certainly remember it 2 years ago. I think it took over the world of social media, didn't it? Wasn't it the hottest thing on social media for a whole day at one point? The Rossi, Marquez, Lorenzo battle. Well, this hasn't got the same edge to it, but it is a championship that's going to go all the way down to the wire. Ducati, well, I'd say they'll be celebrated tonight. I would imagine they will probably be on the aeroplane home.
Well, they came here after that disastrous Phillip Island, where only the 3rd time in the last 9 years no Ducati had finished inside the top 10. That's how bad Phillip Island was last weekend. Their main aim was just to make sure that they still had a chance going to Valencia. It's been mission accomplished. They've done that all weekend, to be fair to Andrea Dovizioso. Wet or dry, he has been right at the sharp end. That did put pressure on Marc Marquez, and we do have, for the 4th time in MotoGP history, a final round shootout.
Kelly Pirro there, the Ducati test rider, he's had a lot to do with the success of this team. He has done a great job. Fills in when anybody's injured in any of the Ducati's teams.
Well, I'm not surprised he's smiling. He probably gets a tidy little championship bonus himself if Ducati win the title, don't they?
I'm sure he does. There's Zarco and Lorenzo having a good old chat. So Ducati win for the 6th time this season. All 6 wins coming from Andrea Dovizioso.
Yeah, and I think that's his best ever season, isn't it? 5 wins was his previous best. This year, and of course, the year 2004, he won the 125cc World title.
He won it here, didn't he? Yeah, by finishing 2nd, that's right. And Zarco in 3rd place. Jorge Lorenzo, just his 3rd podium finish on the Ducati. But the race winner and the man that has kept this championship alive is Andrea Dovizioso. I think it's right that the championship's going all the way around down to the last round, because it has been a truly amazing championship. Well done, Ducati. 1st and 2nd. Johan Zarco in 3rd place, his 2nd podium finish in the MotoGP class. Jorge Lorenzo is coming strong. Jorge Lorenzo is going to win some races for Ducati next season. Jorge Lorenzo finishes 2nd here in Sepang. But his 6th Grand Prix victory of the season means we go to Valencia to determine who is the 2017 MotoGP World Championship. Congratulations to Andrea Dovizioso.
So the championship battle rages on to Valencia in the final race of the season. Andrea Dovizioso doing all he could do, which is to take his 6th win of the season. Jorge Lorenzo there, his Ducati teammate, alongside him in second. That's the 3rd podium of the season for Lorenzo, his best ever result as a Ducati rider. And let's not forget Johan Zarco, so narrowly missing out on the podium in Australia, finally getting on the podium here and crowning off what has been a great day for the Frenchman as he secured the top independent team rider trophy. So we rage into Valencia, Matteo, and this is what we and indeed all MotoGP fans wanted to see, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. We wanted to wait until the very last race, and we got it. We should be happy about it. What a fantastic race was in general by the Ducati team, and a great job done by Marc Marquez also to finish 4th. So let's see what is going to happen in Valencia very soon, in 2 weeks from now.
Yes, Marc Marquez there. We saw him smiling in his pit box, no doubt very happy with where he finished, which was 4th today in Sepang. Confirmation of the podium sitters: Dovizioso ahead of Lorenzo and Zarco. Marquez finishing just ahead of his Repsol Honda teammate Dani Pedrosa. And Danilo Petrucci, a valiant effort from him after starting last on the grid thanks to a mechanical failure in the sighting lap. Valentino Rossi could only manage 7th place ahead of